and welcome back to another episode of Floyd Street's Finest, presented by Great Flood Brewing Company. Of course, Floyd Street's Finest is a member of the Field of 68 Media Network, and boy, is the Field of 68 exploding as college basketball gets underway. So many different ways to follow our podcasts, our conversations nationally, a bunch of different teams covered. So make sure you check out the Field of 68 on Twitter. Go find the YouTube page and subscribe to all of those things. And of course, as I always say, please find Floyd Street's Finest on your podcast platforms and leave a review for us, a rating and a review. It helps the algorithm. It helps other Louisville fans or hate listeners or just college basketball curious people find our podcast and listen to it. It shows up in the rankings, et cetera, et cetera. So please do that when you can. We greatly appreciate it. And I would love to include some ratings and reviews on the pod as we go on this season. We are into the weekly episode portion of the year. Hoop season underway. Louisville has played 3 games as of this recording. They beat Southern in the season opener. They lost to Furman. I was in Arizona at the time and have since rewatched the game. And then they rebounded on Monday with a win over Navy. By the time you're listening to this, they will be just about ready to play Detroit on Saturday, and what is a final tune-up before they head down to the Bahamas to play Mississippi State and then either Maryland or Richmond. And those are going to be bellwether games for Louisville because I think everyone was surprised. Not necessarily, your varying level of surprise. If you're someone like me, I wrote about this on my newsletter, which comes out Thursday mornings, jeffgreer.substack.com. It's specifically focused on Louisville men's basketball. In that newsletter a few weeks ago, we talked about the challenge of playing Furman and Navy. Those are 2 good teams. Navy coming off one of its best seasons in a really long time in terms of winning percentage. They were 15-3, kind of undone at the end of the year by COVID-19 issues. But they did lose their top scorer from last season, rebounded this year by beating Virginia right off the bat. And Virginia, doesn't look like a team that is the usual Virginia. Maybe they'll round into form as they usually do later in the season. That's how good Tony Bennett is as a coach, but still, that's a big win for Navy early in the season. So you knew that was going to be tough. And then Furman, if you watch anything to do with the SoCon, the Southern Conference over the years, you know that Furman has been right there with some of the other powers in that league for years and years now, with Bob Ritchie at the helm. And while it was disappointing for Louisville to lose that game, from the Cardinals' perspective, Furman, is a team that is going to continue to be difficult for other teams to play. Almost went to Belmont and beat them. So that is a tough game for Louisville. And quite frankly, Louisville's shooting, I don't think is going to consistently be what it was that night, 25% from 3 or so. That happened in the first couple of games, and that's something that you've got to think will improve as the season progresses. They were much better offensively against Navy. But the biggest problem is on the defensive side of the ball. And I think it comes back to the conversation. I know my friends on What High School Did You Go To? Chris Hatfield and Gabe DuVerge have talked about this. I know my buddy Mike Rutherford, who was on last week, has talked about this. And even some guys in the national media as well. You can't discount the importance of Chris Mack being in practice every day, breaking down film every day, talking to his team every day, and spending a lot of time coaching defense and rebounding. And in the practices that I have been to, I've been to 3, and I'm hoping to get back to some after this week in the lead up to the Bahamas. And then once Chris Mack returns as well after Thanksgiving, he is the coach on defense. Ross McMains is the primary voice, I should say, with all the other coaches certainly involved, but McMains runs the offensive stuff and Mack runs the defensive stuff. Mack runs clinics on his version of the pack line, a hybrid pack line defense. And I think, we know that this is going to be an interesting marriage this season between what the pack line mentality, defensive rebounding, toughness mentality on the defensive end has always been for a Mack coach team with this higher paced offense. And, it's tough to do what they want to do defensively and do what they want to do offensively and marry those two things. I think they'll be fine, and they'll be able to do that as the season progresses, at least to a degree that, I still expect them to be an NCAA tournament team. But there's going to be some growing pains and there's going to be some challenges. And I think as long as Mack is out, you're going to have some hiccups, and he's going to come back like a dad coming home from work or a mom coming home from work and being real upset with their kids over something that occurred that they got a phone call about at school or something like that. I mean, he's going to have plenty to talk about in terms of gap help, which is absolutely critical to the pack line that they play, the type of defense they play. You have to be an effective help defender. You've got to guard two guys, basically, the guy with the ball in your area as well as your man, and sit in that gap and make it difficult to get to the rim, force jump shots. And that's what Louisville wants to do. But the struggles with guarding drivers on the ball and the struggles with gap help have been problematic. It was better against Navy. It was a lot better against Navy. The energy was a lot better defensively. They have improved. They improved quite a bit in that game, but still the inability to keep drivers in front of them, to not foul them, to not give them opportunities to score at the rim or find shooters on the 3-point line. All of those things are problematic. And then I think that all feeds into the challenges as a rebounding team as well. So those are things that I'm looking for to see if they can improve that. It's going to be real difficult against Mississippi State and either Richmond or Maryland with some of the guys they have and their capability of driving and creating off the bounce. But that's where Louisville needs to improve the most. And I think if they get better there, I think they'll also get better as a rebounding team on the defensive side of things. That is got to be priority number one as the season progresses. It's going to be fun to watch on Saturday, or maybe not so fun, depending on what people expect. Louisville should win comfortably against Detroit on Saturday, but Antoine Davis is a heck of a scorer and is going to be a real challenge defensively for Louisville. We'll see how they do against him and see if they can make some progress getting ready for their big trip to the Bahamas. Before we get to today's interview, which is with Noah Locke, and I'm very excited about that. The Cardinals, probably their top scoring threat at this point, and a guy who looks like he's going to be that way for the season. Kind of what we have been talking about here on the podcast and in the newsletter. Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at BetRivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with BetRivers yet, now is the time. They're offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. What sets them apart is they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. And with their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With basketball season underway, get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading the BetRivers iOS app. You've got to be 21 years or older. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And an exciting note from our friends at Great Flood Brewing Company. Cards fans, Great Flood is going all out this season during all televised Cardinals women's basketball, men's basketball, and football games this season. Our drinks are 10% cheaper for the entirety of the game. This pricing is available at both the Highlands Tap Room and the Middletown Restaurant. We love hosting you and can't wait to root along with you as we cheer on our Cardinals. Thank you for your loyal support, and go Cards. Hey, as a side note, they're now offering options in the tap room for the first time in 7 years, expanding them. Offering wine by the glass or bottle, and liquor and a cocktail menu are coming soon. And on Sundays at either location, enjoy bottomless, endless mimosas. That's what I like to hear. Without further ado, here is my conversation with Louisville's Noah Locke. All right, we are joined by the dynamic scorer, the sharpshooter, Noah Locke. Noah, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just happy we're in the season now.
Yeah, aren't we all? We're all loving
Yeah.
college basketball. We are, as of this recording, 8 days in to the season. You've played 3 games. Noah, I know obviously Louisville will be disappointed to have dropped the Furman game. 2 wins in the 2 games in the win column, I should say. How do you feel like the season has gone so far, both for the team as well as you individually?
I feel like it's been definitely like a learning experience for us all. I mean, like you said, we took a tough loss to Furman early, and definitely a learning experience. Learning that we can't take any team for granted. I mean, we got to come in, with the same mentality every game. Um, we got to practice hard, have great practices before games, come in with a game plan, and execute the game plan as best as we can.
That was something that Mike McGee's talked about after the Navy game, was how hard your team practiced over the weekend. What did you learn about your team? I think from, because sometimes, you know what, you lose games, it's not going to keep you out of the tournament by the end of the season. It's not something that is anything other than a loss in November.
Mhm.
But you can learn a lot from those experiences. What did
Mhm.
you pick up on your team after that Friday night experience?
I mean, I learned that, guys can't, like I said before, you can't take it for granted. You can't take this game for granted. You can't take teams for granted. I mean, every team in this at this level is good. They might, they always have like a certain player on that team that can go, or they play well together. I mean, there's always, teams out there that can play. So not taking teams for granted, and I feel like I learned that our guys, still throughout the games that we have played. I mean, after the Furman game, like the Navy game, I know I found out, our guys are like resilient. I mean, guys are coming out, starting to continue to play hard, even if, we took a tough loss. And it shows heart that we have, even coming off a loss, to be able to come and, play as hard as we did. There's still some stuff we had to clean up, but I felt like, we showed that, we had heart and we played as hard as we possibly could.
Now, I'm going to bounce around quite a bit in this, Noah, because we got 20 minutes. But you and I had a good conversation, I thought, on local media day, just talking about your role, learning
Mhm.
about the offense with Ross McMain's kind of leading the way. We'd like to call him the offensive coordinator, so to speak. But for you, it was really interesting when you committed, and we're talking about you wanted to be show that you were a little bit more of a multifaceted offensive player, kind of tap back into what you're used to doing when
Mhm.
you're a high school kid.
Mhm.
How has that role and your understanding of your role in this team, how has that sort of evolved since you've gotten to Louisville and now you've actually put it to practice? How do you think it's going?
I think it's going pretty well. I mean, I feel like, overall for myself, I mean, I feel like I need to do better. I mean, the shots that my 3-point percentage has been looking as, where I wanted to be right now. I mean, it's only been 3 games. I mean, of course it's gonna level out, but I mean, I need to get better with that. But overall, I feel like, I've been getting the opportunity. I've been being aggressive. I've been able to play the game that I've always played, and I mean, I feel like this opportunity is great for me. I mean, I'm able to show what I can do, and I feel like I've been producing at a pretty solid level right now. I mean, I like I said, I mean, I feel like I can do much better, which I will. But as for right now, I feel like, the opportunity is definitely there. I feel like my coaches believe in me, and you know, I can miss 4 shots, 5 shots in a row, and they still believe that the next one's going in. So I love that, and I feel like it's going to go well for me.
Now, something that I think, we're so used to talking about like positions, like he's a two guard, this guy's a
Mhm.
three, this guy's a five. And we always talk about that with basketball. This system, though, pretty much everyone has license to handle a ball, to get up the floor, to initiate the offense. How does that kind of fit to what you like to do offensively, what you're capable of doing offensively?
Um, I mean, it helps. I mean, It helps a lot. I mean, I feel like, even when I get the ball out the net, I can push it, or, I got other guys getting the ball out the net and I'm sprinting the floor. I mean, I feel like it's just freedom in play, and there's less thinking with it. I mean, it's less, getting the ball and like, oh, I gotta find this certain guy to get the ball to. I mean, I feel like it's just more fluent. Guys can, get out and run much more. And I feel like it definitely does help us all as players, and allows us to play with more freedom out there on the floor. And I feel like most definitely it helps me, be able to show that I can get out in transition, get to the rim, or even, just running out in transition without the ball, either getting the catch and shoot three, or, getting to the rim or something like that. So, I mean, I feel like it gives us a variety of options, and I feel like it's the best for our system.
When you signed here, and Matt Cross, it was a similar reaction. And I think all of us in media and the fan base are a lot of us anyway are guilty of this, but kind of just get labeled as a sharpshooter. And it's just like, oh, he's going to come in, he's going to be a spot up shooter for you, and that kind of it angles your game down. It pulls your game into just one category. Does that bother you that you're kind of labeled as that? Was that something that you took as motivation? I mean, it's still a compliment that you're a good shooter, but how did you feel about that label?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I was upset about it. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I knew, from the coaches, me talking to the coaches, and I know that's what really matters to me within the program. I mean, my role from what the coaches think of me, and they knew that I would, be able to show more. And, as I've been showing, I mean, I'm pretty sure that, the people in Louisville, media and stuff have seen that I can do much more than just shoot the ball. And but I am also happy that, that was one of my labels too, because I mean, that's my best strength. I mean, shooting the ball. So me being able to, be labeled as that, I mean, there's still a lot of great players in this world that are considered sharpshooters. So just to be acknowledged as that is great. But I mean, I wouldn't say I was upset. I mean, I'm happy actually that, I was labeled as one of those guys, but I knew I could show more too. So um, that was good also.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean,
Yeah.
there are worse things than being said, than people saying, "Hey, this dude shot 40% at Florida. He's pretty good at shooting."
Right.
Something that I enjoyed from talking to you a little bit on media day was you discussing how the team kind of learned about Ross McMains and the offensive system that was being implemented. Take us through your process. And obviously, once you got to campus and started learning it in person, I'm sure it was a little different, but how did you sort of adjust to or learn about what he wanted to do? And how did you apply that to your preparations for coming to Louisville?
I just came in with the open mind because, I was at Florida for 3 years. I learned a lot of different things as the coaches there in Florida, they taught a whole lot of different things. And for 3 years, learning a certain way of playing offensively was, like, you got to come in with the open mind, knowing that, something is completely going to change. So, like I said, I just came in just thinking that, there's a whole lot of different things that's going to happen. I mean, he's going to give me a lot. I know he was from, professional, played, coached at a professional level and knows a lot of different things. And that's what I want to be. So, I mean, just learning from him, I mean, it it made me realize that, you can get so much out of just little simple actions that might seem, you know, you might not be able to get something out of. Like, I mean, just like a simple handoff or something like a simple ball screen or something like that. There's just so much you can squeeze out of little things. And I feel like I've gotten so much better at, squeezing those little things out and being able to um, understand all those different things within the game. And I feel like he's done a great job at teaching those things. And he's honest about it. He's honest about it. Making sure that we take advantage of all the little opportunities that we have. And I feel like it's beneficial to everyone.
Well, I want to flip the script a little bit, because you're trying to marry this more up tempo offense with the pack line, or at least a hybrid version of the
Mhm,
pack line. I know Chris Mack just kind of cringes at the use of the word pack line, because it's
mhm,
associated with Wisconsin and Virginia playing 40
mhm.
possessions in a game. But how do you think that's been difficult to match those two things? Has it been tough to learn the pack line? Because I know guys who come into the system, especially if they've been playing somewhere else in college, you're
Mhm.
really adding on top of experience elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ball game when you're learning that gap help and all those different things.
Yeah, I'm to be completely honest with you, it's been tough for me. I mean, it's been tough for me because coming from 3 years, I mean, not really being in like such a deep gap help, playing at Florida and stuff like that. I mean, just trying to, get used to that is it's been tough for me. I mean, I felt like, we've been, given a little bit more leeway, as in being able to, pressure the ball more, playing a little bit more full court pressing, especially, last game in the Navy game. I mean, we got up in them a little bit more, and I feel like, coach. I mean, our coaches are starting to give us a little bit more leeway with that, being able to play more aggressive, because they, like you said, trying to get that marriage between the offense and the defense. And I feel like, personally, being able to get into defenders and, show more aggression helps us out more on the offensive end. But I mean, like you said, we got to have a marriage. I mean, being able to help our our teammates when, the offensive player has to step on them, getting in the gap, helping them out. It's definitely beneficial. But overall, I feel like, the marriage has been getting better. Um, we've all been trying to figure it out. We got a whole lot of new guys. I mean, so I mean, after a while, I mean, once we start to play more games and, practice a little bit more, I feel like we'll start to figure out our identity within that much more, and I feel like it'll get better for us.
Yeah, and look, as I've said, and I mean, having Coach Mack back for you guys, that's a voice that you've heard all summer. I'm sure it'll
Mhm,
be a game changer for Louisville to have him back.
mhm,
I want to talk to you about your hoops background, your upbringing in a family of basketball people. Both of your parents playing at Coppin State. Your older brother played at UNCG and is playing in Europe. Where did you, I guess, learn? How did you learn the game in that environment? And how do you think that maybe gave you a leg up on people who might not have had that kind of family background in the sport?
I mean, I feel like I learned it just from being around it so much. I mean, my mom and my dad, like everyone, all when I was growing up, I mean, they were either coaching or like they were coaching. Yeah, they were coaching either, at a college level or coaching my older brother. I'll go to my older brother's basketball practices where my dad was coaching. Yeah, I'll watch. And sometimes once I got to an older age, I mean, I either, I'll get in there and practice with him sometimes. Like, and it was I just pretty much learned from just, being around it so much. And, I started to, get into training like with my brother, and then, once my brother left for college, then I started to, get in there training on my own. And um, overall, it's just been, a blessing to be able to have that. I mean, and even my little sister plays too, just passing that
Mhm.
down to her. I mean, we'll be in the house sometimes, just playing on mini hoops. I'm teaching her little stuff. Yeah, and I mean, it's just a blessing, like I said, just to have, such a well-rounded basketball, family that knows a lot. And I mean, they're always on me. I mean, they know what's best for me. Like I said, they're both coaches. They know they
Mhm.
know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to, be great players. And they make sure that I'm on my P's and Q's and doing the right things for me to be successful.
I mean, we're talking like all conference parents here. I mean, this
Mhm.
is not,
Yeah, yeah,
they weren't sitting on the end of the bench.
yeah,
These are
yeah,
good
no,
players.
yeah, for sure.
Do you remember, like, how did you learn how to shoot? Like, do you remember when that came along, and when did you realize that you were a good scorer, that you're a good shooter?
I don't honestly. I can't really remember exactly how, like, or who taught me how to shoot. Like, I think it was more of like a being in the gym all the time, just shooting the ball. And my dad could really shoot it. Like, he could shoot it really well. He was like the shooter on his team. And like, I feel like it just started to become like natural for me. And I just started to get in there and shoot shots. And, my dad most definitely, like, and my older brother would be in there and would, you know, help me out, get my form together and stuff like that. But I mean, I used to look at film with like my dad when he was playing. Like I almost have like the identical shot as him. Like my shot looks almost exactly like his. And I feel like it was just like a natural type thing. I mean, just from watching and seeing my brother play, watching the film like my dad, and just watching basketball. I mean, I feel like it just came natural to me. And then once I started to work out and get in the gym a lot more, um, I mean, I started to, learn much more about, just scoring the ball altogether. And like my brother and my little sister are like completely different players than me. I mean, they both my
Really
brother, yeah,
interesting.
my brother was probably like 6'5". Like he was like he stopped growing in like eighth grade, but he was like 6'5" in like eighth grade. And
I
so
stopped
he
growing in eighth grade too, Noah, but I was
yeah,
not 6'5", man. I was not
yeah,
6'5".
yeah. He played like the post, like he was like a big guy.
Hmm.
And he had a lot of post moves. I mean, and a lot of he was real good at finish. He had a real good touch. And I feel like I got that from, them too, like just my touch, my floater, being able to have a good touch around the rim. And my little sister was the same way. I mean, she was about like 5'10". She's about like 5'10", 5'11", almost 6 feet right now. And she stopped growing in like the eighth grade too. So I mean, they were like big when they were younger and play like the big post, but now they're starting to be, develop into like the guards and stuff like that. So I mean, just being able to, have that touch around the rim, I think I got it from, from watching my brother and, seeing him develop and stuff like that. And overall, just the whole scoring aspect of it. I mean, just from learning from like my father and my brother and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's few teachers better than having an older sibling or like an older cousin or a friend or someone
Hmm.
who just can absolutely beat up on you
Hmm.
a lot over the
Yeah,
years,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
learn a
yeah.
lot about it.
Right.
Last thing I'll ask you then, Noah, and you've been very generous with your time, so I appreciate it. Um, I always like to ask guys like Deng Adele, who was in the program a few years ago with Louisville. He started playing when he's like 13 or 14, and he was thrown into this situation where he's running to the basket and he'd always just laid it up, and he was getting a little taller, and then one day he
Mm-hmm.
just kind of dunked it and was like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
wait, I'm actually like a high level athlete and can do
Mm-hmm.
this." Did you have a moment when you were a kid, not necessarily dunking the ball, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe a game where you just caught complete fire shooting, or any
Mm-hmm.
experience where you kind of were like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. This is actually like a real thing for me.
Um, I would say when I was in the eighth grade, as in like athleticism wise, um, I was in the eighth grade. Well, no, ninth going in. It was said I did two ninth grade years. I reclassed. I did
Mm-hmm.
a ninth grade year at my public school, and then that's when I transferred to my private, the McDonough school that I was talking about. So
Mm-hmm.
like that, in between those 2 years, that AAU season that I had, that's when I was like started to like dunk the ball. And I felt like I mean I was much more athletic like in high school. I mean I feel like now I'm just like, I mean I can still get up there, but like it's going down a little bit. But I mean I feel like I can still get up some. But yeah, when we played at this tournament. It's called the gym was called Spooky Nook. It was like a hoop group tournament, Spooky Nook. And I my first like I like dunked on somebody like in the game. And like after that I was like, oh yeah, I know like this is like this is what it is now. Like I mean I know I'm starting to get more athletic, be able to show that I can get over the rim. And after that, like, I think I dunked on like 3 people that tournament. I was just like, yeah, after I started dunking, I just started dunking it every time. And I mean, like I said, after that, it started to, open up for me. I knew that, you know, everything was going to get much easier for me being able to get to the rim and finish like that. And, my shot was going to, be easier for me. So, like I said, that tournament really set it off for me. Sure.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, there you go. A little the origin story of Noah Locke. There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Noah, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And people will obviously be tuning in the rest of the way, but we wish you the best of luck the rest of this season.
Yeah. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Yeah.